So is the golden city blackened. With each step you take in my hall, marvel at its perfection, for it is fleeting. You have brought sin to heaven and doom upon all the world. The Chant of Light, the Canticle of Threnodies, Chapter 8, verse 13. Hello, and welcome to the first episode and session 0 of Victory, Vigilance, and Sacrifice. Also, happy Halloween! Thank you, everyone, for choosing to celebrate with us on this debut show. This game uses the Dragon Age video game setting developed by BioWare and the officially licensed tabletop role-playing game published by Green Ronin. Thanks are also due to Incompetech, aka Kevin MacLeod, for creating the wonderful music you will hear tonight. Incompetech can be found through the Roll20 app, which we will also be using to play. Thank you to every creative worker who contributed their energies to what we're about to experience tonight. However, before we begin, a couple content warnings. Dragon Age is a dark fantasy game about trying your best in no-win situations. If this were a film, it'd be rated R for war violence, murder, body horror, coercion, mind control, demonic possession, fantasy racism against elves and mages, religious intolerance, and slavery. This is also a story of the Fourth Blight, which means that this is a story about a plague. We've used consent negotiation for this game, and we'll be using the X card. This means if a scene is going somewhere you don't want, feel free to ping me on Discord. You can also put your hands like this, and the scene will stop, no questions asked. Except maybe what should we stay away from. But you can also step away from your camera at any time and for any reason. This is all supposed to be fun. We're not here to inflict trauma on each other. And so, tonight, join us as we make our characters for this chronicle. First, Warden Recruits, tell us a little bit about who you are, where we can find you when you're not fighting the Blight, and what sort of concept you're playing with.
Hey everybody, I'm Ambrose. My pronouns are he or they. You can find me all over the internet as AmChangeling. You can find me on Etsy at Thornkind, and I think that's it for now.
There might be some audio issue. I'm getting messages that people can't hear.
No.
Oh, no, it was just one person.
Okie.
Flynn was very happy to hear this. I don't know, did I go through?
Yeah, it was end user error.
You came out very well.
Get out. Next.
Tell me to come, or you tell me to get out, and then you tell me to go. What do you want me to do? Hello, all. I am Devin. You can find me on the interwebs at Sorta Sullied, wherever I may be meandering. And tonight, I am going to create a Grey Warden, an old Grey Warden, who's pretty much just set on killing every last Darkspawn because his family got murked by them. Tit for tat, right?
Hey, it's me, Kay, of the she and they variety. You can find me at Critical K with 2 Ks on the interwebs. And I would like it to be known that I had this background first and then Devin got it after. I will also be making a Grey Warden.
Hello everybody, my name is Steve. You can find me on the internet at Voodoo Arcade, and tonight I am playing a person creating a character, and as you can tell from the symbol behind me, I will be attempting to play a Tranquil.
Hi everyone, I am Brody. You can find me at the Raba1 on Twitter and maybe somewhere else on the internet, pending. And tonight, or today, depending on where you are, I will be playing a city elf of unnamed origin, other than the fact that they are here against their duress.
I mean, it's Halloween. It's nighttime all day long.
Spooky.
Most of us are here under, most of these characters seem to be here under duress, unless they can't feel that, but if they could feel it, they would be under duress.
I mean, the wardens are like that sometimes.
They do.
Uh,
They do be like that.
Hello, I am your storyteller, game master, narrator. You can find me Stolen Fires pretty much everywhere, including here on this channel, over on Twitter, and then, depending on what happens to Twitter, I might land somewhere else. We'll see. Uh, so, we're gonna start with a little bit of a lore drop for those who might be unfamiliar with Dragon Age or Thedas, aka the Dragon Age setting. Thedas is a European-influenced fantasy world, much like Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, or D&D. However, a few elements make this setting unique. The first is a realm called the Fade. This is a realm of dreams and magic. Humans and elves, but not dwarves, touch the Fade when they dream, and those blessed or perhaps cursed with magic touch it more strongly. This is not without risk, however. The Fade is full of spirits who can be hostile, neutral, or sometimes benevolent to mortals. Mostly, unfortunately, they are hostile and want nothing more than to possess a mage and ride their body back into the material realm. 99 times out of 100, this is a really, really bad idea. Even when it seems like it might be a good idea, no, it turns out being a real bad idea. So, the mage becomes an abomination and must be put down by the Templars, an order of knights dedicated to protecting mages from themselves and everyone else from the mages. So, around 1,000 years before this game is set, a coterie of blood mages called Magisters ruled in the Tevinter Imperium, and they served as high priests to a seven-god pantheon called the Old Gods. These magisters wanted to physically enter the Fade and the realm of the creator spirit called the Maker. They drained hundreds, if not thousands, of slaves, mostly elven, of their life force to perform this ritual. And it worked. What they did was akin to physically entering heaven, but they had brought sin and malice to a place of peace and perfection. The Maker turned his face away from these magisters and cast them back down into the material realm. And these seven found themselves cursed, the first of what would eventually be called Darkspawn. They were infected by something, get your giggles out now, called the Taint. This is a force of corruption that causes anyone infected with it to sicken and die if they're lucky, and transform into human monsters if they're not. So, thus began the first blight, made even worse when the Magister Darkspawn found the first of the old gods, a being who had been transformed into the archdemon Dumont. What happened next was 3 generations of suffering, sickness, famine, and plague. By the end of it, it seemed as though the age of humans was coming to a close and the age of the Darkspawn was nigh. But then emerged an order of men and women, dwarves and elves and humans who dedicated themselves to nothing but ending the blight. These became the very first Grey Wardens, and they had a significant edge. They themselves were untouched by the taint. This allowed them to wreak havoc on the Darkspawn by the score, to wade into a battlefield full of genlocks, hurlocks, ogres, and worse, and emerge perhaps somewhat scathed, but most importantly, unaffected by the taint. They killed the archdemon Dumont and founded the Grey Wardens at Weishaupt Fortress in the Anderfels Mountains to preserve what they had learned and to guard against future blights. This proved foresighted, as the archdemon Zazakel awoke just a few years later, and then Toth 2 centuries after. It is now the 12th year of the Exalted Century, 5 centuries since the rise of Andraste and the establishment of her chantry. It is also 200 years since the last blight. Your characters are, or soon will be, Grey Wardens. So, for the first step in the character creation process, yes, Steve?
Did you say Zanzakill?
Zazakel.
Zazakel. That's a dope name.
Is it dope?
Snazzy Zazzy.
Okay. So, the first step is choosing backgrounds. These begin on page 13 of the core rulebook. So, your backgrounds keeps me them.
Oh, what page did you say that was?
They start on page 13.
So to everyone's severe shock and awe, like seriously, hold on to your butts. I am going to be playing someone from the nobility.
Gasp.
Gasp, shock, awe, people have fainted.
Well, I see
So,
you
are
started
you
some character conflicts.
are you going to play an Orlesian noble, a Ferelden noble, or a Dwarven noble?
Tell me about Ferelden and Elysians.
All right, so
Please, Munch Bookkeeper.
Ferelden is sort of modeled off medieval English social structure and law. So you have fiefs called arlings or bands uh, of mostly independent nobles. And even though the king has a lot of power, they're still sort of answerable to the nobles called the landsmeet. Uh, Orlais is very much like Baroque France. So the nobles have a lot more power. The common people are a lot more oppressed. Uh, it is currently Orlesian fashion to go about wearing a mask, but you don't have to do that if you don't feel like it. And then dwarves have a very caste-based society. Uh, and so, as a dwarven noble, you were born to a same-sex parent who was also a noble. So if you want to play a male character because you're gay, uh, then your father was noble and your mother could have been from any caste. And it's actually pretty common for members of lower castes to essentially try and seduce nobles and have babies with them because that's sort of at the very least the child will have a better life than you.
Okay, okay. And I believe you mentioned there is a mystical magical place that starts with a T.
To
Trevor
Vinter.
to Vinter.
Yes, so you could. So if you want to play a Tevinter noble, you are a mage because that is the thing that they do is even though the chantry says magic was meant to rule over man and never serve him, the Tevinter are like, well, we're serving by keeping society going. And so arranged marriages are really, really common to try and preserve the power in their magic bloodlines.
Yes. Okay. So I have some ideas bouncing about, but Vinter seems very interesting. I don't know if anyone else had their eyes on that. So yeah, I'm thinking a noble from Tevinter.
Okay, so just as a note, uh, Tevinter nobles practiced slavery.
Okay.
So,
Cool, cool, cool. Story elements.
okay. So, how about everyone else?
Ferelden Freeman.
Nice, nice.
City elf.
I saw Brody's hand go
Where's
up.
your alienage, Brody?
Well, that's an interesting question. I would default to Valroyo in the Orlesian Empire, but if other players had connections to other cities, it might be interesting to be from those places too. So if we can, perhaps I'll wait to identify this particular alienage after everyone else has had a chance to flesh out some of their background.
Flesh.
Okay.
I'm. I'm gonna be a Dalish elf. Which, for anyone who doesn't know, like I didn't 5 minutes ago, it's a partial lie anyway. Is a wood elf.
Yeah, so there are essentially two cultural groups of elves in this setting. Uh, a long, long time ago in the before times, the elves lived happy, long lives as essentially Tolkien elves, and then came the humans, and for some reason, contact with humans meant that the elves started losing their immortality, and they started getting sick and dying. Uh, and the humans, being asshole humans like they are, responded by promptly enslaving them. And so now elves have a lifespan uh, pretty matching up with humans and dwarves. So in about 80 years if you're lucky. Um, and so 500 years ago was the rise of the prophet Andraste, who essentially overthrew huge elements of society. And one of the things that she did was she freed a whole bunch of elven slaves. And she gave them land called Dales as their gift for following her and supporting her and believing in her. She gave them the Dales to settle in. Uh, but uh, humans still can't not be humans, and so because they didn't worship Andraste in exactly the right way, the Chantry uh, staged what is called an exalted march. It's essentially a crusade, and they took the Dales away from the elves. And so, forever after, the Dalish elves adopted a very nomadic existence where they travel from settlement to settlement, but always on the fringes. So they have a lot of forestry because they'd like to go through the places where the humans don't. And city elves just live in squalor and awfulness in the cities. So they're not technically enslaved, but they are pretty much only allowed to work certain menial or service-oriented jobs, and they're certainly not allowed to live anywhere except outside the except the alienage, which is it's
For,
basically a ghetto.
for our protection.
Yeah. I mean, it is kind of for your protection because when elven families move out of the alienage, bad things happen to them.
Yeah, I think you used the correct word for alienages, though. Ghettos. In the
Mm-hmm.
alien sense.
Does that leave me?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to do the absolute worst decision I can make and do a circle mage.
Gonna lie, I heard suckle mage.
That too. Why not?
Like I took me a second. I was like, wait, no, circle mage. But I was like, that is not the words I heard.
Yeah, I think my background will be circle mage.
Okay. So, Steve,
Hi.
hi. Your character has been wandering in the hinterlands of Ferelden. Like any good Grey Warden, you have been patrolling for Darkspawn. Because you're a Grey Warden, you can sense when the Darkspawn are nearby, so they didn't quite get the chance to ambush you. But there were a lot more Darkspawn than anticipated. Your character is the only survivor. So you wander into the nearest town. Your robes are all tattered and covered in mud and blood, and your health and mana are both severely depleted. And so you come across a small village.
When I see the village and kind of take in the fact that there's something here now, it's not just wilderness and darkspawn. I'll try to muster up any of that last energy I have, rushing towards the village. So just this crazed, muddy, bloody guy coming out of the woods, running.
All right. And so the tavern, there's a lot of activity there. There's noise, a little bit of music, light coming through the windows. This is clearly where the people are.
I will run again, trying to breathe in any of the air that I can, being so tired. And I'm not knocking or coming in regularly. I'm like barreling through the door.
Okay. So everyone else is really, really surprised when they see you just sort of fall into the doorway and collapse. And just, who is he? Oh my goodness, he needs help. What's happened? And so the last thing you see as you sort of pass out is three armed and armored Templars getting up from their table and walking towards you.
You have to help. You have to help me. It's coming. It's coming.
So, and that's the last thing you say before you pass out. And you wake back up. Some of your wounds have been attended. You've been bandaged up a little bit. You're on a bed, and you can hear the Templars. There's three of them, two men and a woman, in the room with you, arguing. They are arguing about what to do with you.
And I'm conscious now?
Yes.
Okay. You're arguing.
Mm-hmm.
You're upset with each other.
So at this point, you do have all of your emotional faculties.
Oh, I do?
Yes.
Oh, perfect. What do you do? Okay. Where am I? Hello? Can you hear me?
You're in the Black Marsh. Explain yourself, says what looks to be the leader of this small patrol.
Explain myself. I'm a Grey Warden. You have Darkspawn nearby.
Blood mage, more likely, says the big guy. And then
Whoa.
the woman pipes in and says, I told you, he's wearing the robes. He clearly stole the robes.
No, hold on. Where would I steal Grey Warden robes from?
From the Grey Wardens you clearly murdered.
Yeah. One guy walks around killing a bunch of Grey Wardens and then runs into town. Yeah, that's what I did. You got me.
There, you see, he confessed. We should just kill him and be done with it. And again, they start arguing. And so, like, one of them, like, starts examining you. He's the smallest of the three, the youngest. Trying to grow a little mustache. It's not working out too well, but he's trying. It just sort of like examines you a little bit and says, Tobias, I don't think He's an abomination. Not every mage is an abomination. He's like, well, where's the rest of his patrol? Even the Grey Wardens know better than to let a mage wander through the world alone.
I wasn't wandering alone. I had allies. They died. You know, where the blood came from.
And so what happens is Tobias says, this is stupid and a waste of time, and begins drawing his sword. Looks like he's about to attack you. And then the woman cuts in like, no, look, okay, let's just compromise, right? We can compromise? The big man turns like, what do you mean? She's like, you know what I mean.
I've had enough of this conversation. As Grey Warden, I am leaving.
And that is the last memory you have before you wake up again back in the tavern with a brand on your forehead. So, moving on.
Can I just say, I like how Steve's head fits right in the center of the sun.
I was gonna say it's quite appropriate.
It is actually not a sunburst. It is the brand of a tranquil mage. A tranquil mage is a mage who has been cut off from magic, from the Fade, and from just all emotion in general.
Sadness. They can feel it.
So,
Could be worse.
moving on. This game has 3 core classes, Mage, Warrior, and Rogue. Some of you have already chosen them. Each class has a variety of specialization options. But for those of you who haven't decided yet, Warrior, Mage, or Rogue?
I'm just gonna say mine. I'm from Tvinter. I'm playing a mage.
As a city elf, I am forbidden from taking the mage class, so I will be going with rogue.
I'm gonna be a fighty bits. I mean warrior.
Yeah. Fighter. Warrior. Must
All
stab.
right. So,
Isn't
the-
stab roguey?
I'm sorry?
Okay.
Sorry. You said stab, and I associate stab with rogues. That's because
Depends
I'm
on the
a D&D
size of
baby.
the thing you're stabbing with.
So technically mine's more like just smash with.
Okay. Smash.
It's a bastard sword, so you know.
Mine is a legitimate dagger.
As
Okay.
opposed to an illegitimate dagger.
Well, that would
But we
be
have a bastard sword.
yeah. We got
I missed it. Damn it. All right. That whooshed right over me.
Listen, you don't feel things. It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. It went over your head. We understand.
Bees.
So, classes begin on page 34. So you'll see there's a description. There's a couple mechanics at the bottom. There's primary abilities, secondary abilities. You can mark your primary abilities if you want. This is just sort of the game telling you this is where you want to put your points in. You also have a starting health and some weapon groups. Another thing that this game does is you get cool shit at each level. It's a little like Pathfinder. So make sure that you write down all of your level 1 starting talents. So for a rogue, your primary abilities are communication, dexterity, and perception. Your weapon groups are bows, brawling, light blades, and staves. And your level 1 abilities are backstab, rogue's armor, and then 1 starting talent of your choice, contacts, scouting, or thievery.
I have made my choice. I
Tell
will
us
be
your choices.
the novice level thievery.
Okay.
because you can't get into as much trouble as a scout or with contacts.
What page could
Okay.
I find the warrior things on?
The warriors are on let me scroll down, page 38.
Thank you.
Your primary abilities are Constitution, Dexterity, and Strength. Your weapon groups are Brawling, and then you can pick any three of axes, bludgeons, bows, heavy blades, lances, light blades, polearms, spears, or staves. As a Dalish elf, I would suggest that one of your three is bows, and then probably light blades, and then whatever else looks good. You probably don't want to do heavy blades or lances because that's more for knights. Your starting talents are you gain a novice in any two, which is archery, dual weapon, single weapon, which is single weapon, throwing weapon, two-hand or weapon and shield. You also start as a novice with armor.
Ooh, so fancy. Oh boy. Uh, what are staves exactly? Like staffs?
Yeah, quarterstaffs.
Oh, oh, okay.
That's just a fancy way to pluralize the word.
But
I like
bonus stick.
bonus stick. I will take a bonus stick. Thank you. Uh, definitely archery style. Dual weapon style.
What?
And yeah, and then the armor's there. Sweet. I also get some bonuses from being a not a Danish elf. A,
Yes.
a Danish. Yes, I'm a Danish elf. I make Danishes.
Danes.
You'll be serving us
Ambrose will talk later.
Morgus one time.
Someone who has lived in Denmark will talk about this later.
Oh my. I get a +1 willpower. I get to pick either between Dex bows or willpower courage. Uh I will be able to speak two languages, trade tongue and elven. And then I rolled some bonus stuff and I
Yeah, we're
got
gonna circle back to that in a little
oh
bit.
okay.
Yeah, I'm doing character creation a little out of order because I think it makes more sense to do it in this order.
That'd be good. That'd be quite
Okay. Devin and Kay, what are you thinking?
Uh, I do be mage,
Yeah,
and so I see primary abilities are cunning, magic, and willpower.
Yep.
So I do the little check mark on the character page there, and I don't know what else I'm supposed to do from there.
All right. So as a mage, your weapon groups are brawling and staves. You also gain the following talents. So technically with Steve, although you can't use all of them,
So,
obviously.
yeah, that was going to be my question. I should be taking mage, right? Like, pretty clearly? Yeah, okay. Alright, just wanted to make sure I wasn't looking at that wrong. Okay.
Yeah, and we'll look up enchantment later, so there's still stuff you can do by folding layer into cool things. Because enchantment isn't magic because dwarves and trample can do it.
Hell yeah.
So I take like arcane lance. Is that how this works?
Yes. So you get Arcane Lance, which is it is a basic attack that you will always be able to do. You will always be able to cast. It does minimal damage. It's
So does
sort of
that
like
fall under which section? Is that fall under talent, spell name, or ranged weapon?
talents. So for a mage, you could put it in talents or spells.
Okay.
Yeah.
So arcane lance seems like a specific spell, not like a talent.
It's so it's essentially meant to replicate that in the game. even if a mage doesn't have their staff or anything else, they can still like shoot fire out of their fingertips at you.
Mhm. Okay.
All right. And so you also start with magic training, which gives you 3 starting spells, which you can sort of go through chapter 5 to pick out ones that look cool. You also gain mana points. This is 10 plus your score in magic plus a roll of 1d6, and you will gain another magic plus 1d6 every time you level up. Mana points are essentially your casting pool. Every time you try and cast a spell that is not Arcane Lance, it costs you mana points.
Okay.
And you also become a novice in chirurgery, linguistics, or lore.
Okay. Let's take a peeky pie at what those are.
Yes, Steve.
I'm so sorry to interrupt. Did we have a point array, have an array, or a point by, or are we rolling
Yes.
stats?
We are approaching that section.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I am. Yeah, no,
Yeah, I
I'm
know you said out
bouncing
of order.
around.
Yep, gotcha.
Yeah, because
All right.
I don't like the way they structured it.
Understood. I thought I missed something. You're good. All right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Where is descriptions of these? Oh, there's lore. Okay.
Anyone else have any more questions about classes, class powers? Okay. Devin. You're the village blacksmith, right? Okay. I don't think your mic is on.
But now.
Now it is on.
Okay.
So, you're working at your forge, making the horseshoes and nails and knives and iron tools that your village needs to survive and thrive. And because you spend so much time just clang, 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 it takes you a while to realize that in the distance, you hear the sound of screaming.
I stop. And look outside.
Okay, so you have heard stories of Darkspawn before, and just how ugly and evil they look, but nothing that you have ever been told compares to what you see as just these inhuman monsters just roll through your village. And you see in the distance also smoke rises as fire has been set to several of the buildings.
I look around to see if I can find my family. First and foremost.
Okay. So, do you pick up any weapons?
Oh, I never let go of the hammer for the
Okay.
forge.
That's probably good. So, you run away, or not run away, but run out of the forge, to where you see, your wife trying to protect your son, trying to shield her from a group of 3 darkspawn. And all she has is a kitchen knife. And it's a really good kitchen knife because you made it for her. And she does manage to just take one of them out, just throat cut, it collapses and dies and just bleeds thick, black, noxious blood into the ground. And you know, in the back of your mind, you know, oh, nothing's gonna grow there for a century.
I start sprinting as fast as I can. I'm gonna try and take out at least one more of those.
Okay. So we don't really have this worked out yet because we haven't gotten there, but we're about to. So roll me 3d6.
8.
Okay. So you managed to nick one of them. But it's almost too late. Another one it's this awful dented, chipped sword stolen from someplace else. You just see the darkspawn run your wife through. But as she dies, she does manage to just take out the other darkspawn, and covers all three of you in darkspawn blood. And that's when you hear this growling and scrambling behind you. And you look around to see another darkspawn. This one's pretty short and wearing this sort of like weird bent wire contraption on their head. And you can see magic energy start to focus as this clearly magic using darkspawn is about to do something really heinous to you.
Take the hammer. How far away is it?
Maybe about 10 yards.
Take the hammer, chuck it as best I can at its head. Grab my son and run.
Okay. So, what happens is you chuck the hammer, and it doesn't seem to do anything really to distract this darkspawn. What really distracts the darkspawn is the arrow that suddenly sprouts out of its eye socket. And then another one. And you look over and you see a small group of Grey Wardens have rolled up on you, and they are attacking the darkspawn. And they're armed.
Thank the maker.
Yeah, they're armed and armored, and they know how to do this. And so within 10 minutes, all the darkspawn are dead. And so once they finish wiping up the darkspawn, they start looking for survivors. And they come across you, and you can see one of them is an archer, and the other one is a mage, and they are both elves. You can tell by the little elf ears. And the man comes up and says, "Are you all right?"
I'll live.
Good, good. Sorry we couldn't get here in time. And then the mage, who's a woman, says, Garahel, look. And you both follow where she's looking at, and it's your son. And you can see he's got like smears of darkspawn blood across his face. And you already start to see the black veins in his neck that signify taint.
Is there anything you can do?
Oh, we can't save the child, I'm sorry.
But no. His mother's already gone. He's all that's left.
We can save you, though. And
Save me. You've already saved me.
And as you look down, you also see the blackness on your own hands. But you've got to put him out of his misery. Or would you prefer one of us to do it?
I just look down at my own hand, clenched. Son, Landon, come here.
Okay. So, we don't have to go into a whole lot of detail about what happens next. But,
Give him a big hug, and everything was fine.
yep. And
Me
so they.
casually.
Is it a farm upstate?
And
It is
so
very, very high upstate, yes. How'd you know?
Garahel and Isaiah help you essentially give all your loved ones a respectful burial and help you go through the mourning process. And then they say pretty much the only way to save your life is to become a Grey Warden.
It seems fit that the rest of my days will be spent eradicating them.
Okay. So they take you to where another group of recruits are meeting. And on the way, you overhear them discuss, this is a lot of elevated Darkspawn activity. Could it be a blight? Maker's Mercy, it's not, but clearly they're up to something. So, we now proceed to a brief mechanic tutorial, which we touched on a little bit with Garrick, Devon's character, making his attack on the Darkspawn. So this game uses 3d6, one die of which should be distinct in some way from the other two. This distinct die is called your dragon die. If you roll doubles in any combination, that is 2 regular dice or a regular die and your dragon die, you generate a number of stunt points equal to the value of your dragon die. It's a little complicated, I know, but you get the hang of it pretty fast. So, if you roll 2 4s and the number on your dragon die is 3, you have generated 3 stunt points. These can be used to make your success more elaborate, succeed in a particular way. There are charts of stunt points, which you should be able to find pinned in the Discord. One other important thing to know about stunt points is that they are use them or lose them. You have to spend them in the round that they are generated. So, apart from stunt points, in addition to the roll, you add in your attribute score. These attributes are communication, constitution, cunning, dexterity, magic, perception, strength, and willpower. You can also take focuses, which will give you a +2. So if Garrick had a focus in hammers, he could have added a 2 to that roll. Now, you have 10 points to now distribute amongst your attributes. At this time, nothing can go above 10. But what we are going to do after this is circle back to the backgrounds, which could possibly push your attributes above 3.
Does our little checky check mean anything for that or do anything for us?
No, that's just sort of to know what those are the skills you should have 3 in, basically.
Okay. Side note, I have a small list of names, and I'm debating if I now must pick one of them because of how close it is to Garrick's son, or if I should therefore avoid it. Because apparently your son's name was Landon, and I have the name Lander on here, and now I'm real tempted.
Oh my god, your name gives him flashbacks.
Yeah, I'm real tempted.
For a game like this, go for maximum pathos.
That's what I'm thinking. I think that might have given me my character's first name at least. Okay, so we can put 3 things. Okay. Oh god. Oh god. That means I have like just zeros and everything else, essentially. Okay. Okay, we're learning.
So, one way you could try and game it a little bit is as a Tevinter Altus, you get +1 to your magic.
Oh.
So,
Yeah.
So, does anyone have any questions or comments
Okay,
or
so
curses? Swears.
God. Swears. So I think I have my lineup. So I'm going to have a 2 in communication, a 0 in constitution, a 3 in cunning, a 0 in dexterity, a 3 in magic, a 0 in perception, a 0 in strength, and a 3 in willpower. I am questionably min-maxing. Question mark, question mark, question mark.
I mean, theoretically, the Grey Wardens are the best they are at what they do.
He's not a Grey Warden yet, is what I'm thinking.
Not a Grey Warden yet.
No.
But let's talk about that for a little
Yeah.
bit, Kay, while everyone else apportions out their attributes. How
Just confirming, we're using the option to buying abilities?
you have 10 points to spend. Yes. So why would your character leave home and join this romantic yet tragic organization?
So I don't think he actually has joined the Grey Wardens yet.
Mhm.
I don't initially know if he intends to. I think his journey is probably going to take him there. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, plot. But essentially, as we mentioned, Tevinter is controlled by its noble mage families and their arranged marriages. Lander is not necessarily interested in this arranged marriage thing. He sort of doesn't want that life and those machinations, and he sort of wants to just do magic and chill.
Okay.
And he
So
was
is
supposed
it
to get married.
that you just have no interest in marriage, or you have no interest in women or marriage?
It's mostly marriage. I think he has this very romanticized idea of love and like destiny. And he just, at least right now, this is not what love is supposed to be. I think he has these like books that he has gotten from who knows where, these scrolls of romance and true power and all these things and like etc etc, and that's what he sort of wants his life to be. He wants something real.
Okay.
And his arranged marriage was not that. And it took him some time, but at first he's like, this is what you do. He's from a noble family, and he was sort of like prepared for it. And then on like the eve of his wedding, which I think was like a big deal, supposed to happen like in Finter, there was a huge feast, there was a festival. It was the night before the wedding, and he just kind of dipped and left. And so he's sort of both on the run from Tevinter because there's a, maybe a bounty to bring him home unharmed, of course, so that the wedding and politics and such can proceed. But also in this strange land, apparently they fucking take mages and like put them in circles, and I don't want to deal with that shit. So he's also kind of just been trying to avoid that and just live a fucking life. So, running from 3 birds and trying to ride out 1 stone.
Okay, so let's say that as you have grown up a member of the prominent Pavis family, I'm giving you one.
Yeah, I just noticed. I was like, I have a last name now.
Yes, you do. So it started very sort of low key with your parents inviting other noble families to have dinner with them, to take trips to hunting lodges with them. And they always brought their daughters who were about your age. And they would always encourage you to spend time alone. But, these were, you never really connected with any of them, in part because they were all extremely plugged into their society. So they're just have this sense of ambition and purpose and drive that you just don't. Not that you don't have ambition or drive, but you've never really found a cause that you felt was worthy of you.
It's just nothing felt right. The right thing would feel right.
Yeah. And, as you get older and you just don't connect with any of these girls and they get married off to other Altus families, your parents start getting frustrated with you and you start having like really loud, angry fights with them where your parents just don't understand your need to love the person you marry, and like they straight up admit they do not love each other. There's respect and admiration and shared companionship, but they're like, I don't love her, she doesn't love me, don't need that to have a successful marriage.
Yeah, and there's just a lot of yelling back. Well, do you even love me? What is our family? Is this just, a business arrangement? I, have all these abilities. It's a squanderment to just sit in a house and do whatever. Like maybe I could go do something else. I'm young. Why do I have to get married already? Like, you have time.
Because you must produce mage children for the Pavas family to endure.
Like you say endure, like I'm sure you probably mean it in the way like the line continues, but that just sounds like a real drag to me, like as if I have to endure the fact that they're there and present. And I don't really want that. I want what's my favorite color? What's my favorite color? just like the most banal teenage, like, who even am I? Do you even know who I am?
Sorry, I'm speaking with Big Dad and answering a couple questions about your character.
Oh, Jesus. Ben, stop. What are you doing, Ben?
Okay. So they threaten you, essentially, if you don't marry this next girl that they're going to introduce you to, then you're out of the family.
Yeah. Well, fine. Just stamp, door slam.
Okay.
Just but I think they take the fine to mean, yeah, the wedding is getting married. I think she is from an equally advantageous family. In fact, she's a few years older than him, maybe, and there's some questions like, why is she not married yet?
Sure.
But at the same, she as Lander has gotten to know her, she's very for it, and I feel like she's very pushy about his abilities and very happy about them. And at first, that's kind of nice. Like she seems keenly interested, and then she starts like constructing birth charts, and that's a little. What if we spent like a couple years just us? What if we waited?
Okay, but that's not really an option. And so let's talk about how you ran away.
So I think it was the night before the big, wedding was supposed to happen, this whole big event. And I think the place that I got those scrolls, as a highborn person, my in Winter, my family had slaves, and one of those slaves was more like a nanny-esque caretaker. My parents were busy being in charge mages with responsibilities and things, so she mostly raised me. Or let's say they mostly raised me. And the night before the wedding, I confided in them, I really didn't want this. And it's something we'd talked about before and we'd sort of planned. And they said, well, then you don't have to do this, And they sort of considered me their own. And we managed to charm to sleep the guard sort of in the area. They provided me with a pack and everything I needed, and then they bravely caused a distraction while I made off on horseback.
Okay. So, would you want to stay in the Tevinter Imperium? Would you want to leave?
So I think he started trying to stay there.
Mm-hmm.
And then, unfortunately, he's got a recognizable pretty face and certain, maybe look or hair color, something that's like distinctive to the family. There is, wanted posters about, there is a bounty. And so he has recently made his way outside of Tevinter, only to realize just how dangerous it is, to leave his microcosm world where mages are sort of nobility and on top, to this other place where if you're a mage, you apparently need to be in this thing called a circle. And he really is looking to exchange one prison for another.
Let's send you to Valroyal.
Okay.
This is pretty distant from Tevinter. It's got a nice little map over here of Thedas. And so you end up in Valroyal, which is the capital of Orlais. And so this is... Nope, false alarm. Wait.
Bless you.
Yes, false alarm. So this is the capital of the Orlesian Empire, which is one of the rivals of the Tevinter Imperium for power and cultural influence. And so you're a noble. You know how nobles work, how they interact with each other. And so here's what happens is that because you were raised a noble, you're just sort of used to all of your needs being met. You're not used to having to pay the bills, to pay rent, to pay for food. What do you mean you have to pay for food? The elves just bring it to me.
What is a bile?
Yeah. And so before you really realize it, you're down to your last handful of silver coins. And so a brief note on the economy here. The base currency is the copper coin. 100 copper coins make up a silver coin, and 100 silver coins make up a gold coin. And a humble farm family can live on coppers a day. But your lifestyle, the lifestyle that you've become accustomed to, is a little more expensive than that. And so the fact that you still have a handful of silvers, that's not nothing. But to you, it feels like poverty.
I have nothing. I am but a spinster.
This tremendous sense of dread washes over you as this truth sinks in. You're gonna have to get a job.
What is a job? I must do it. but I know that this is the path I am meant to take, which I think stalls me a little and soothes some of the anxiety that is present there. This is what is going to lead me to my great love.
Okay. Awesome. So we are going to put a brief pin in that. We'll circle back around to you later as we move on to the next part of character creation. So, does anyone have any questions about attributes?
I don't
Okay,
believe so.
the first thing that we're going to do, if we haven't done so already, is we're going to circle back to your backgrounds. And so each background gives you a straight up +1 to a particular ability. You also get a choice between two focuses. Sometimes you also get a new language. For example, K, because I'm looking at the Altus, you gain +1 to magic. You get a focus in either communication leadership or cunning arcane lore. You can speak and read to Vinter and the trade tongue. There is also a table. You roll 2d6 twice and get a benefit. If you roll the same benefit twice in a row, you can keep it or roll again.
Oh, you get 2 of those benefits.
Yeah, you get to roll twice.
Oh, sweet.
What page is the benefits?
Yours is it is the bottom of page 29 for you.
Thank you.
I get 2. I only rolled 1. That's 1 fewer. Nine.
Yeah, and for Steve, I'm gonna look this up real quick.
Focus, Constitution, Stamina.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's a good question because there are 2 tables, one for Elf Circle Mage and one for Human Circle Mage.
I am human.
Okay.
Yes. Which
All right.
means-
None of these are bonus spells. If they were, I would just do that. Roll again
Yeah.
for something else.
No, I rolled a focus in heraldry, cunning heraldry, and
Okay.
Constitution, Stamina.
Those are both pretty good. So for your cunning, I will let you know that the Templars who attacked you, 2 were Ferelden and 1 was Orlesian.
Oh.
Yeah, the one with little peach fuzz. He was Jean-Luc. He was Orlesian.
Oh. That actually brings up a question I would have. Where do you think I would be from? I
Well,
was having a hard time thinking of that.
yeah, you could be. So you could be from Ferelden. You could be from Orlais. You could be from Antiva, which is very Spanish in sort of culture and outlook. You could also be from the Free Marches, which is a collection of independent city-states. They each have their own chantry. Oh, another cat.
So many kitties.
So,
How messy does it get in the free marches when it comes to like the different states and languages and stuff like that?
not that messy. Everyone pretty much speaks the trade tongue.
Right. Okay. Free marches. So let's do that.
So, Maker,
Yes.
I ended up rolling 2 dexterities on my table, and as an elf, I already get 1, which in theory means I'd have a 6 if I were to put 3 of my advancements into dexterity already.
Yeah, you could be really dexterous if you want.
Yeah, that seems that tickles my min-maxer fancy a little.
Okay, let's see. I've got a Constitution. Wait, hold on. I'm assuming I'm taking human benefit of mage. Constitution Stamina. Guess that is necessary. Oh,
What
Jesus.
is necessary?
To have good stamina on my concentration. I have lost one of my dice to the great unknown. Question.
Yes.
If one of these +1s will take us above the 3, should I roll again?
Nope, that is totally fine.
Oh,
You
okay.
just can't go above the 3 with the initial spend.
Okay. Oh, this boy child has a 4 in willpower because no one's gonna tell him what to do. He's very willful. He's going on his grand adventure and you can't tell him no.
Nice. So does anyone have any questions at this moment? Anything you want clarified?
Can I ask Kay a
Okay.
question?
Yes, you may.
Of your 2 possible focuses that you could have taken, which one did you take?
I have not decided, honestly.
Okay.
Because I haven't. Did you have input or thought for that, given the character I described, as I do not know this setting?
No, everything made sense. I had the option between arcane lore and history lore, which both work for me too. I did write down arcane lore, but I can switch if you were to take arcane lore.
No, go for it. Take what you want.
How rat.
Yippee. So if you went arcane, so you said you went arcane lore?
Yes, I have the focus cutting arcane lore.
Dope. I'll take historical lore then. Although, does that make sense if I'm not from here, or can my historian lore be specifically to Winter lore?
What's the question?
So, it's arcane historical lore.
Mm-hmm.
How separated is Tevinter from the historical lore of this area? Or could I have just maybe been like a nerd who was kind of obsessed with the idea of sort of free living, but somehow like ignored all that is the circle?
There's a lot of cultural exchange going on with Tevinter and everywhere else. Because everywhere else used to be ruled by Tevinter. So this is essentially an empire in decline, but still fairly powerful.
Okay. Okay, yeah, then I'm fine with that. Makes sense.
Wait, I'm sorry. Did you say history?
You said you were taking arcane lore.
Right. Sorry, history and arcane lore were my 2 options. I thought you said your other one was leadership.
I don't know because it says pick one of the following from arcane.
So I see where the confusion is. Kay is not rolling on the Circle Mage chart. She is rolling on the Tevinter Altus chart.
Right.
Yeah.
Is on page 30, Kay?
Page 20? Maybe
Yes, so the write-up for Tevinter Altus begins on page 29. It's right at the bottom of the page. It's right below Tal Vashah.
Okay, so I might have been looking in the wrong space because this is confusing. Because mine, the 20, I'm on the player's handbook that was linked. My 29 is the warrior.
All right. Okay. I think I know the problem. I think you're reading the wrong book. You should have open Dragon Age RPG core rulebook.
Yeah, I've been on the player's handbook.
Okay. Yeah. So the player's handbook.
No wonder things have been very confusing.
Yeah. So the player's handbook is part of a box set that they released. And then they did a whole bunch of other more different box sets, and then they have this one, which is all of them together.
Okay, this now explains why everything is confusing. I need to re-roll my shenanigans. Boop, 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 boop. Nope,
So-
not that. Not that. Boop, 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 boop. Okay, that. So 29. Okay. Sorry about that confusion.
No, sorry.
Okay, yeah, to Vinter. Yeah. Which to Vinter am I doing?
Altus.
To Vinter Altus.
Yes.
Okay. So if I have a focus magic arcane lance, but I already have arcane lance,
The focuses give you a bonus to using
so just
that.
like a bonus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Arcane lance gets a bonus. And I get a +1 to communication.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, I have either arcane or communication. So I'll take communication leadership. That's fine.
Okay.
And that tracks with you being a noble. You're used to telling people what to do.
What to do?
Okay, so we are almost done, but we have also been at this for an hour and a half. So we are going to take a 10-minute short break. And then we'll come back. We'll finish up. We'll take care of Brody's vignette. And then maybe get all of you in the same room together.
Ambrose.
And we are back. So, Ambrose, your character. You come from a band of Dalish elves, where your essentially nomadic route, your trade route, takes you mostly through the northern parts of Thetis. So you've seen the Anderfells, which is a very mountainous, harsh country, and you travel through the outskirts of the Tevinter Imperium as well. But always, always when you're in the Imperium, you're on your guard. And because, we discussed in chat that the Tevinter have a really bad habit of kidnapping elves and enslaving them. But the trade is good, especially because your particular band of Dalish has a more mercenary bent. You're used to taking jobs, and so you gain an edge one day. So you're on patrol. You're in this thickly wooded forest. The carpet is thick with fallen pine needles and leaves, and you hear this snuffling, this crying. And you go to investigate, and you see there is a Grey Warden. And you're not sure which of the dozen Darkspawn arrows in them killed them. Could have been a group effort. But this Grey Warden is clearly dead. But lying next to him is a griffin. And the griffin has also taken a couple arrows, but is alive.
Do I have any Griffin biscuits in my pocket or anything?
Oh, you almost certainly have trail rations in your pockets.
Griffin grub?
Griffin grub.
Grub?
I'm gonna hold it out and try and get it to come to me so I can, or at least so I can go to it and remove the arrows.
Yeah, go ahead and give me a dexterity roll, please. So that is 3d6. Make sure you designate one as the dragon die, and if you are using roll 20, we'll just say that the last die that gets rolled is the dragon die. But you can use meat space dice. I trust y'all.
I have my trans dice from Rosie.
Oh,
duck
nice.
dice. And then my dragon die is going to be one of these from a set that Patty gifted me.
Oh, lucky dice.
All right, so the dragon die rolled a 6, and then the other 2 die rolled 3s.
Oh, nice. So you get stunt points now. You get 6 stunt points because you rolled doubles, and that is what is on the dragon die. Let's see. Spell stunts wouldn't really. So this, I might have given you a situation where stunt points, are not necessarily the best. Okay.
I mean, if we don't get to use it, it's just an example of how it's rolled. I don't know what they do still.
Okay. I'll make sure to post pictures of the stunt points so that you can all have a useful, easy reference. So we'll just say that you get to stunt an extra cool treatment, and so what happens is you you sort of start vibing with this griffin. And so it's still an animal. So it's about as smart as a really smart dog, or a really smart horse. So you can train it. And the Grey Wardens do. They are known for riding griffins into battle. And you manage to pull the arrows out and feed this griffin some of your rations, and essentially get to sort of bond with it.
Friend.
What do you want to name it?
What are some names in Dragon Age?
Well, the Grey Warden hero has a he named his Crookie Tail. So there's far more dignified names like Black Talon or Shrike.
I'll name it Arrow.
Arrow, okay.
I don't know, is that a little traumatic for the griffin?
I mean, like it's got critter intelligence, so
I figure it's like a human naming a dog Lucky.
I mean, you could name your griffin Lucky if you really wanted.
I'll stick with Arrow.
Okay. So, you take this griffin back to your camp, and there's a little bit of discord, as people are like, we can't possibly feed that, it'll eat all the Hala. And then others like, this is clearly an asset that can be of use to the band, so why wouldn't we? So answering a question in chat. But because your band is known to be a little mercenary, you end up getting a contract because the Griffin has bonded with you. Like if anyone else tries to ride it, they get bitten by little griffin beaks. And by little griffin beaks, I mean really big, sharp griffin beaks that hurt. And so you said, so your keeper, the leader of your band of Dalish, comes to you and says that they have an offer for a contract. And normally this is something that they would turn down because it means traveling a long distance away. But because you have this griffin, you could probably actually accomplish this. And so you are given the name of Lander Pavis and told that you should find this person and by any means necessary bring him back to Vinter. You can do whatever you want as long as he makes it back alive. And so you have tracked Mr. Pavis to Val Royal. And so this is when we are going to round out our characters a little bit. These are the final additions. So we've got your backgrounds, we have your attributes, we have everything worked out. So you should also have focus from your background, and talents based on your class. So if you have not done so already, compute your health points. This is your constitution, plus a roll of 1d6, plus 20 for mages, 25 for rogues, and 30 for warriors. And this is also when we compute defense and speed. Your defense is 10, plus your dexterity bonus, plus any applicable shield bonus if you've got shield in hand and are using it. Your speed is your dexterity, minus your armor bonus, if applicable, and then adjusted for your race. Dwarves have a speed of 8, humans have a speed of 10, and elves have a speed of 12.
Zoom.
What?
Zoom.
Oh, I thought you said doom.
Nope.
Zoom, zoom, zoom.
Okay. So speaking of armor bonus, the last thing to wrangle is equipment. So everyone has a backpack, traveling clothes, and a water skin. Mages have 1 weapon and a magic staff. Rogues have light leather armor and 2 weapons of your choice. Warriors have heavy leather armor and 3 weapons of your choice. If you have decided to take a talent in bow, you also receive a quiver with 20 arrows or bolts, depending on what kind of bow you want to fight with. And if you have the weapon and shield talent, you gain a medium shield. So, also, everyone gains 2 personal items. 1 item is a flask of what you will eventually be called conscription ale. You may or may not have this already. This will come into your hands at some point after the joining. It is up to you how this flask appears and how the liquor inside tastes. And it just sort of always seems to be about 3/4 full.
Cool.
And the second item?
The second item is entirely up to you. This is a personal trinket of some kind. It could be a chantry amulet, a wedding ring, a worry token, or even a pair of boots or gloves inherited from your mother.
Rachel, how do you feel about being put on the spot for something funny real quick?
I am streaming on the internet. I have no dignity.
What is the name of the #1 Harlequin romance adventure scroll? Like True Love, like the whole 9 yards, like the romance novel, the Tusk Love of Dragon Age.
It has not been written yet, but we can adjust the timeline. You are going to want Hard in Hightown.
Hard in Hightown. Okay.
Hard Up in Hightown.
Hard Up in Hightown, is that what it's called?
Yes, and it does exist as an actual book.
Hard Up in Hightown, and that he has a well-loved copy of that.
Okay.
Hard Up in Hightown.
You know, it's a couple hundred years before it's written, but who cares?
Who cares? Listen, I have an advanced copy.
Very advanced.
I'm just on the list. I come from a wealthy family, so I get cool limited edition things before they come out.
You have a lawsuit against the person who writes it, all right?
Yeah, so I have a copy of Hard Up in Hightown as my option. It is my inspiration for my life and what I do, what I wish to be.
So what about everybody else?
I will have a wedding ring I made myself.
Sadness.
So could be worse. Could be like his child's finger bone.
What's to say I didn't make it out of a finger bone?
Because it was from your marriage, which happened before your child died. So boom.
Who's to say I didn't have another child's hand to make this out of?
It's not. Who cares if it's some random child finger bone? If it's not your child's finger bone, it's not pathos.
Character note must make a new ring.
Well, no, you don't have the finger bone because it's not your one. Okay.
I do have a child now, though I can make another one.
So-
it should be noted that the proper body disposal in Thetis is cremation, because that keeps them from coming back, which is a possibility.
Rip little Timmy.
Oh.
Now you're all setting a bad example in chat. Now they're all gone feral.
It's like chat wasn't feral to begin with.
One, yeah, you act like chat wasn't feral to start with, and two, you act like we weren't feral people, like that. You didn't know that before you asked us here.
Plus,
Fair.
it's Halloween. We have to think of the weird, creepy thoughts today.
So, math question.
Yes.
It is Dex minus armor, so that would be my 3 minus 1, so that'd be the 2.
Make yours 12 for defense.
Okay. Wait.
And then you get your
All right.
armor, which is that +4.
Oh, speed.
Oh, speed.
Speed. I need to do speed.
Speed.
You shouldn't say that out loud, at least not on a stream.
I need to calculate my speed.
Oh, okay.
There. I said
Speed
it
is
proper.
your so you're an
That's
elf, so you
my-
start at 12.
Okay. Start at 12.
Yeah. Then you add your dexterity and then subtract 1 when you are wearing your armor.
Oh, okay. So is it for role-playing purposes, before we go into like a fight or something, would I need to say I put on my armor?
No, but like if you're sleeping in the middle of the night and you are ambushed, I would presume you are not in armor. Or like
Okay.
if you are attending a fancy Orlesian ball, I will assume you are not in armor.
Unless stated.
Yeah, but like when you're out on patrol, traveling, it's totally reasonable to assume you're in armor.
Fantastic. So speed, I calculated it 14, defense 13, armor 4. And then does anything go in penalty, or is that for like if something happens during a fight?
You're
Bless you.
Bless me. Sorry, I didn't mute in time because that one surprised me. Let me refer to a character sheet. You're looking for penalty? Penalty would be -1.
Okay.
And-
Oh, so that's the armor penalty.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so again, like only applies when you're wearing your armor.
Perfection. I think that's all my questions, I believe.
Okay. So, what is everybody's personal item? So we've got Landers.
A small handsaw.
Casual. Love it.
Small. Specifically, a rudimentary version of a bone saw. Not that bone saw. Just
I was about to say, I feel like this is a deep cut reference.
no, but a rudimentary version of a actual legitimate bone saw that you would treat like a battlefield wound with in a triage tent.
Doctor would have.
Like a doctor would have. But the files are basically ground down to nothing.
Okay. So what makes this so personally significant to you?
Nothing.
Oh, okay.
He feels nothing.
How about the rest of you?
I have some items. The first is a tiny little stylized idol of elven origin that Harel is not actually familiar with, but it was given to him on his first adult name day by his parents.
Okay.
And for your reference, it is actually a image of Elgar Nan, the elven god of vengeance, and the Allfather.
Oh, that reminds me, we gotta pick some Valasleen for Ambrose.
Although, what now?
So as part of your uh essentially rite of passage from childhood to adulthood, you were given a very elaborate tattoo on your face,
That's
and you were
right.
expected to not cry out or move in pain while this was being done to you. And it's essentially a sign of your ability to withstand pain and like be an adult essentially. Uh, so let me see if I can bring up some pictures. There we go. We'll go ahead and pick whichever one looks good from that link.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, decisions.
You don't have to make the decision right now.
I kind of like the first one. Yeah, that first one is pretty cool.
I just wanted to make sure. The sort of tree looking ones.
Yeah, I like trees.
Okay. All right. That was corresponded to who I thought it did. Nice. All right. So, what is everyone else's personal item?
I think maybe a necklace of my mother's.
Okay. That's very sweet. Is your mother still alive?
Nope, and it's all the humans' fault.
It usually is.
Maybe it's kind of why I'm not too interested in bringing Landers back. Maybe question mark.
Speaking of, Harold Wynn, you are a young elf growing up in the alienage of Val Royal, and it has always rankled your soul, the injustice that you and the other elves are treated with. Because in Orlais, it is common for there to be two sets of laws, one for the nobles and one for the commoners. But there's even a third set of laws, and as badly as the nobles can treat the commoners and get away with it, the commoners can treat the elves and similarly get away with it. And you find yourself sort of acting out in small but measurable ways to the point where you have this whole network of elves in Valrail who help you bring chaos. Bring the nobles down a peg or two when it's time. And so right now, there's a noble wedding going on. It's the union of two big Orlesian noble houses. And you know, in particular, the groom's family has just been abominable to the hell. And you've decided, well, what if everybody was uncontrollably itchy during the ceremony tomorrow? So you've got this container of itching powder, and you've got a pretty good sense of the layout of the manor. And so how do you navigate this? What's your plan?
The plan would be first to get some of the livery of the house
Mm-hmm.
as a costume,
Okay.
blend in, and then use one of the servant entrances to get into the estate.
Okay. So you get into the servants' entrance, which is a door leading into the kitchen, and there's this noble woman, uh, late middle age, just screaming at two elves who, based on how they're dressed, with aprons and such, are clearly kitchen help, and just dressing them down about how this is the biggest day for her whole family and everything has to be perfect, and how could they be idiots to let the souffle fall.
As much as it would be fun to do something to her right now,
Mm-hmm.
um, going to kind of quietly, do the like, oh no, the boss lady is yelling. I'm going to skitter away deeper into the estate.
Okay. And even though it's somewhat late at night, there's a lot of activity. 'Cause, there's a wedding tomorrow.
But but the real question is, where is the wedding dress?
Exactly. So, you managed to, well, so what lie do you say to find out this information?
Um, I with my big panic face say, I was told that there needed to be some last minute alterations, otherwise the entire thing would be ruined. I need to get to the wedding dress and the bridesmaids dresses and that, so I can make the additions because it has to be perfect. Otherwise they're gonna I can't afford to lose this job.
Go ahead and give me a communication roll. And if you have any focuses related to deception, you can use those.
Alas, I do not at present have any focuses related yet. That would be a 14.
Okay. So, yeah, uh, you try to make this everybody's problems, but they're like, I've got my own problems, so just go, upstairs, three doors down. Uh, and then they go bustling about to take care of whatever else they've got to take care of, like armfuls of flowers and candles and ribbons and lace. And so you make it into the room. There is a gorgeous, elaborate velvet and satin wedding dress on a stand. And you also see simpler but still very fancy dresses on stands next to them, next to the big wedding dress. Presumably, this is the dresses that the bridal party will be wearing.
So once in the room, going to close the door,
Mm-hmm.
kind of reverse lockpick and try and jam it so that nobody can sneak can come in.
Okay.
And then I'm going to take a few minutes to study the dresses to see where I can cut little bits on the inside to fill it with little pockets of itching dust on the on the wedding dress and all the bridesmaids dresses, so that it takes a bit of time for them to move in them for the itching to really kick in.
Oh yeah, there are so many pleats and darts and folds and seams and pockets that you find a plethora of places, like a little pinch here, a little pinch there, and of course you're wearing gloves as you do this.
The
Uh,
hope is that it won't really start kicking in until about the ceremony.
okay. And when you're about halfway through this task, there's a wham, wham, wham on the door. And you hear through the heavy wood, Oi! Oi, it's locked! Well, it shouldn't be.
Uh, Going to grab the barrel of itching powder,
Okay.
try and find a place to hide, potentially under the wedding dress.
Okay. So, you do this, you try and hide. And, a couple minutes later, you hear the sound of just the door being busted open. And you hear, good God, why was it locked? It shouldn't have been. Wait, what's that? And as nicely as you tried to hide, your toes are peeking out from under the skirts.
At that moment, sprint trying to get out, either if there's a window going through it,
There is no window.
then going to try and run right past them.
All right, go ahead and give me a dexterity roll, please.
That is going to be a 17 with 3 stunt points.
Okay, awesome. So we have some stunt points that have been posted and pinned in the Discord. So this would be probably a standard stunt. Some of the things that you can do. You can move 2 yards in any direction for each stunt point you spend. You can immediately reload a missile weapon. You can knock your enemy prone. You can set up your next attack for defense. You can disarm your target. Affect your opponent's target. So what sort of flavor do we want to have going on here?
So I am going to use the knock prone stunt on one of the one of the people in the doorway to try and make some space.
Okay.
And the skirmish stunt with my remaining point to try and get a little bit further out.
Okay. And so you manage to wiggle out of the room where the same woman who was yelling at the kitchen help is now like pointing and yelling at you, thief, thief. And you do manage to get like halfway to the exit. But this is a really nice house, and there's a lot of guards here, and they do end up catching you. And when you're caught, you're searched, of course, because at first this noblewoman thinks that you were stealing the bridal jewelry. But then they find the itching powder. And she starts accusing you of poisoning her daughter.
Doing the absolute worst thing in response to that, I attempt to kick over the itching powder so it puffs up around all of us.
Give me another dexterity roll.
That is going. Yes, that is going to be an 18.
Okay, well done. So, you do manage to kick over, or like get it like right on the tip of your toe, and then kick it right up to the ceiling so it rains down. The problem with this, though, is that now everybody is accusing you of poisoning this high-ranking Orlesian noblewoman. You get the name of their house, but you don't care. It goes in one ear and out the other. But you probably should have paid attention, because almost before you know it, you have been thrown in prison.
I didn't do it.
And it appears that this noblewoman, not only have you ruined her daughter's wedding, you have humiliated them and made them look stupid.
Ha
And so she uses every ounce of clout and political influence she has to see that you are executed for attempted poison.
And I do everything in my power to make sure that she is known as a fool.
There's not a lot you can do from your jail cell, but we're going to put a pin.
She hired me to do it. She hired me to do it to ruin the wedding because she didn't want her daughter to marry that man.
She insists this isn't true. And, she's going to be believed. So we're going to put a pin in this, and we're going to return to Galen, it looks like.
I didn't do it.
You find stabling for what did we decide to name your griffin? Arrow or Lucky?
Arrow.
Arrow, okay. So you find stabling for Arrow, and the stable boys are just completely enamored of this. They've stabled griffins before, but rarely, and they keep calling you Grey Warden, even though you're not. But after a couple days in the city, which is absolutely overwhelming, you get a lead on your quarry.
Fantastic.
Yep, you know exactly what inn he is staying at.
Well, I mean, I need a room anyway. I'm going to go to the inn.
Okay. Yeah, and once there, you manage to you get a room. And examining everything, you do find a young man. He's got the sort of dusky to vinter complexion. Looks a little confused, a little out of place, a little worried. You're pretty sure this is him.
I'm not going to approach him just yet. I'm going to observe him, see if he's a concern. If I should knock him out.
I would like both Galen and Lander to give me perception rolls, please.
Okay, so this is my first roll, so correct me if I'm wrong, but this is 2d6 plus whatever my bonus is.
It is 3d6, but one die should be distinct.
And one die should be distinct. And 3d6, one die should be distinct plus my perception.
Yes, and if you have any relevant focuses, let me know.
I don't think hearing would count as a perception for watching.
No, I'm sorry.
What was it about matching numbers?
If you roll doubles, then you get a number of stunt points on your distinct die, the dragon die.
Okay, so I got 2 1s and a 3.
Okay, so what's the number on your dragon die?
My dragon die is a 3.
Okay, so you have generated 3 role-playing stunt points.
But I have a total of 5.
Okay, a total of 5.
For my perception. He's not very perceptive right now, if ever. Honestly.
Well, I got,
Okay.
I got you beat, Kay. I'm sorry.
No.
5, 6, and 4.
So in that case, Galen, You managed to get the measure of Lander pretty well without him sort of realizing what you're up to. And so, Lander, what sort of things would Galen pick up on?
Well, so I think right now for my role playing stunts, since I have a few, I think we're getting like flirt and sort of jest and sway the crowd kind of going on right now. And so I think what Galen is getting is this is someone who is very comfortable like having a good time in a public space, who's seems to be very carefree.
Mm-hmm.
And is just having good time. Like he's honestly like he's leaving his back open. He's not protecting himself in the way he probably should as someone who seems to be spending some coin in a public space while decently dressed, and is just sort of living it up is the vibe you're kind of getting. Is just living life to the fullest.
Okay, how much attention are you paying to the tab you're running up?
None.
Okay. So at some point you try and order another round. And barkeep says, "Oi, no, not till you've paid what you owe."
Oh,
and your
come on.
hand goes to your purse to settle up. And you pull out about 12 copper coins.
Wait, no, these are the
Which
wrong
are-
color.
Nowhere near what you need to pay.
I had more in here. And he like lays out this 12 copper. Looking a little stupid. That's not right.
So you lay out the coins, and the bartender's big meaty hand just slams down on top of them, and as he scrapes them into his own pocket, and he's like, "Oh, you owe 5 times that much. Pay up before I call the guard." Oh no, this is our lay, so he'd be like, "You should pay up before I call the guard."
Listen, I don't know what's going on. Give me one moment. And he's like checking all his other pockets, like in little bits and areas, and is just like, oh, like takes off his boot at one point. Like, did I put it in here for some reason? Like,
Okay, so Galen, how do you react to this?
Oh, I'm entertained. This is entertaining. This is very
Okay.
entertaining. And I step forward and I pay this bill.
Okay, you don't have enough money either.
Oh, okay, I don't pay his bill.
don't pay his bill.
Dalish elves are pretty poor. Like you've got this sort of subsistence thing going on, and like you've been given like enough money to survive, but it's certainly not enough to cover a couple nights of carousing.
Listen, and once Lander sort of realizes that I will just, and he's gonna like lean onto the bar and just, I am so sorry. I seem to have left my other coin purse in my room at the inn I'm staying at. If you just give me but a moment, I'll certainly be back with it.
And looks you up and down.
So I have these stunt points.
Okay. So technically stunt points cannot be banked, but I'm really amused with how this is going. So tell me how you want to spend them.
Okay. Well, I was gonna use the flirt.
Okay.
So choose one character who's present and immediately make an opposed communications deduction versus willpower self-discipline test. If you win, the character becomes enamored with yours, assuming gender preferences and compatibility. Well, this means the moments how it might play out, fall apart, and long run of the GM. But basically, I wanna flirt my way out of this bill, or at least postponing the bill until I can get out of there, aka jumping and running.
All right. So we're gonna have a roll off. Okay.
And then my communication. That is a 9.
Okay. This guy rolled a raw 11. So, your entreaties fall on deaf ears. But there is this elf who's trying to help cover your bill, even though he only has another handful of coppers to contribute.
But hey, listen. You know what? Here, how about this, buddy? I have been entertaining people all night, getting them to buy drinks. So I think between, what I've given and what this lovely individual, and he pushes Galen, grabs an arm around Galen and just presses them up from where they were offering closer. So it sort of foists what they have a little more. Between this and that, and of course the entertainment value I have provided at your bar, that should compensate for the merit of everything that I have taken. After all, and he points to several people who he before had been chatting up and invoking into vibrant songs and cheersing and things like that. They would not have certainly gone for as many rounds or as much if I had not been present and encouraging. So that cost of that one drink led to 3
So
more.
you want to sing for your suppers? Go ahead, sing for your supper. Entertain them some more.
Oh, okay, yeah, I can definitely do that.
All
and he's
right,
all right,
so
we're singing, and he just has an arm around Galen. It's taking Galen with him.
I don't sing.
You don't have to sing. You just have to. Yourself has to sing. You as an individual.
I don't sing.
No, but you can. Let's and he'll reach forward and notch off the top button of your top and flex it a little, reach a hand up and mousse your hair. And just gotta entertain him and make him get another drink.
I don't entertain people.
Then what do you do, wise buddy boy?
It's funny you should ask. I've been sent to take you home.
Ooh. Right. And the arm drops and there's that immediate 6-foot distance. Well, you see, unfortunately, you can't do that. I've got a job. So sorry. You're just gonna have to tell my wonderful mother and father that you can't do that. So why don't you just leave? And I'm gonna walk over to a table, completely big smile on, oh hey, what's going on? How about this? What if we play a game of dice? Oh, you guys are just sitting. Oh, your drink's almost finished, buddy. And I'll nudge someone, get another one.
Okay.
Just gonna follow Lander around.
Just follow me.
Here's what happens: is that the barkeep gets a lot of free labor out of Lander, getting him to essentially be entertaining, convince people to spend more coin on drink. While this is happening, Steve, what's your character's name?
I was hoping you were gonna ask that.
No! Steven.
I've literally been going through names for 35 minutes trying to find one that calls to me.
Oh, you should name yourself Greenlee for no particular reason.
What?
Why not Kevin?
Yeah. You can't name your fucking character Kevin in this fantasy world. I refuse. Don't be that
Stephanus.
person, Devin.
Technically, it's Steven.
So,
Tarquin?
Oh, man.
well, Ionis, you are
You should
sitting.
just name him.
I gave him the Latin name for John. It's fine. He can change it whenever he wants.
No.
You are sitting in the tavern, just sort of trying to process what has happened to you. And you can tell that the tavern keeper, the innkeeper here, feels really bad for some reason that you can't really understand. But they give you a nice meal and insist it's on the house. And this isn't unusual for you. You're used to people giving you food and for spotting your tab because you are, after all, a great warden. There's just something different about the way that these people are treating you. And then that is when a couple more Grey Wardens come in And you recognize them. You've worked with them. You've patrolled with them before. It's two elves, a brother and sister pair named Garahel and Isaiah. And they have this. He looks strong, but clearly of peasant stock with him. Uh, and they come up and like, oh, we found the patrol. We thought everyone was dead. It's so good to see you alive. Have you taken wounds?
I'm sure it's a pleasure to see you. I was hurt, but I'm better now.
And you just see both of their faces fall, the woman in particular, because you know she is also a mage. And she just looks sad and then looks angry. Who did this to you?
Some well-meaning Templars who found me.
And Garahel says, this is an outrage. And Garrick, how are you responding to this exchange that's happening right in front of you?
I know what my brain just died on what they're called.
Tranquil. Yeah, you know all about
yeah,
mages and
okay.
tranquility and
Thrice cursed Templars. How dare they do this to one of us? Even though I've only been here for how long?
I'm sorry, what's the question?
I said thrice cursed Templars, even though, I've only been here for so long.
How long has he been a Grey Warden?
How long has Garrick been a Grey Warden? He is not,
Yeah.
not yet.
Not yet. Oh, he's not one. Okay.
So really the only veteran is Iana's TBD. So that is up to however long Steve wants his character to have been a Grey Warden.
What was he like before this?
I can hear you.
What were you like before this?
I was like everyone. Adventurous, scared, excited. I remember being thrilled sometimes, and I remember being upset.
As you think of these memories, they remind you of when you wake up and you remember a dream and it's not real and you know it's not real. And that's sort of the emotional, not necessarily emotional, but that's sort of just the attachment that you have with these memories of feeling feelings.
However, that was from before. I'm here now.
Okay. And so, Garahel says, fuck, we'll deal with this later, but you're still a warden.
If you say so. I'm sure that can be accomplished.
Right. And so, what they say next is that they have to go to the rendezvous point, which is just outside Val Royale, because they want to see how well Leanne and Marcial have been doing with their recruitment efforts. And so, what that means. I'm sorry?
I was gonna say, so the people that are with me are gonna go over there, and they say that?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll just kind of respond. I know that I should go with you, as you are my friends. I believe.
We will always be your friends. And so, Garrick, if you stay up at night, you will hear Garahel and Isaiah trying to discuss between themselves, like, how do we fix it? I don't know. I really want to kill the Templars who did it. How dare they?
Yeah, I'll
And so
listen to that.
back at the tavern in Valrail, here's what happens is the bartender is quite pleased to get as much free labor out of Lander as possible. And the night gets later and later to the point where it's no longer late. It is early. It is early in the morning, maybe about an hour from sunset. You've been awake, you've been partying all night, just putting on the nines. And so when the guards come to take you to prison, uh, for debt and theft, you really can't fight them off. And even if you had the energy to do so, like, you really don't want to expose yourself as a mage by throwing fireballs around.
And there's just like little wisps of flame at the edges of Lander's fingers. Is he just like, this is so rude? We had an agreement. I worked and I made you back that money and then some. You should just literally let me out. Like, this is. Yeah, I think he wants to try. Yeah.
You object as much as you can, but they will haul you off to the clink, where you find that you are sharing a cell with an elf.
Audacity. Sharing.
And so
Galen's
Galen,
sitting outside the jail.
okay,
Lander will get sized up the second he is pushed in.
And like Lander is like 5'7". He's not a very tall gentleman. Um and just like looks at you and looks you up as if he has like as if he is like, yeah, he's looking you up as if he's assessing you and does not deem you a threat.
A, a,
Like
a
it's dismissive.
he is still wearing the livery of the house that he was in. Also, for everyone's note, his ears they're still pointed, but one is definitely like cut off at one point, and the tip of the other is also gone. This is not somebody who looks like they have lived an easy life.
It's like an alley cat.
Mm-hmm. What are you in?
so I'm sorry, continue.
What are you in for?
The false accusations of the hubris of an individual who knows not their place.
Hmm. Are you that individual?
No. Probably not.
Looks to the left, looks to the right. I think you might be the individual.
Maybe. Solid maybe.
I'm in for attempting to kill an entire house, entire noble house. Just smiles.
Listen, if you I hope this is accurate for the setting. Listen, if you shoot for the moon, you still land among the stars. You at least get a few. Have they like done something? Did they like murder your entire family or steal away the love of your life to work upon her knees as some like maid? Did you travel from the farthest land? Oh, okay.
No, I'm from here.
Oh, okay. I'm not.
You're not a noble, are you?
Yes, I am.
So this is when, Galen, you are just sort of hanging out outside the prison cells, and you see two gray wardens pass you by and go inside. And it's a man and a woman.
They better not be taking my bounty. I scurry inside.
Okay. So you scurry inside as you see these Grey Wardens have begun questioning everyone here. They're like, you, what can you do? What are you good at? And so Lander and Harold, when they ask you these questions, what can you do? What are you good at? How do you answer?
Landed just the most vivacious grin, just like leaning against the bars. And it's funny because he like lifts up his arms as if to show him off, and he's like, tone. But he's got like head, like he is not strong, +0, like does not look very fleet of foot or anything, and is just like, I can do whatever you need me to do. I'm just that good.
So one of them sort of like, you're a mage then.
I didn't say that.
Well, do you want to avoid the Templars?
And he like looks around and like for a second, like that sort of like devil may care attitude like cracks a little, and he's like, yes.
What about you? You're due to be executed.
I'm just a simple city elf.
No, he's like attempted murderer. He told me himself. He tried to kill a whole noble house.
Did you succeed?
No, I don't. Did you? You didn't tell me you did.
I like to keep it a mystery.
All right, what are you
Just
good
say,
at?
no one. Let's just say some families are not going to be the same. At that, it's like shit. You got me.
And you see these people sort of discuss between themselves, and one of them's like, "Oh well, he's got courage." I suppose that's true. And so, Galen, you watch as they point to Lander, they point to this elf, and they point to a third person and say, "You, all three of you, you're officially conscripted into the Grey Wardens. Come with us."
Well, now hold on.
Yeah, wait.
That one I'm getting money for to bring him back to his family.
Oh well, you can take the news back to his family that he's been conscripted and he's a Grey Warden now.
I can still bring him back to his family though after that, right?
Oh well, tell you what, if Garrett Hell is right, and we are facing a blight soon, then you can take him back home after the blight. If Garahill's wrong and there is no blight, then you can take him back after joining if he still wants to go.
I don't want to go. I don't know if that's like something we're weighing here in this whole like conversation.
No.
Could you take us and say we're joining the Grey Wardens, then let us go?
I like this option. I'm not really looking for boundaries. I'm looking for like open space.
Hey, Shem. Let the people who know what they're doing talk about this.
Well, you want us to let you go? Aye, we'll let you go right back into the arms of these people who want to see you hung.
No one wants to see me hung. Well, I mean, other people want to see how I. It's a different language. It's a whole thing.
But I'm saying is, could we have a? You say you're taking us, and then you just lose us on the way?
Oh, well, whether or not we lose you on the way, that's up to the maker.
I'll make it up to you if you just get me out of here without the whole.
You can
No?
look on. They're not playing.
Yeah, you know what? I'll drink your your insert Dragon Age equivalent of Kool-Aid.
Hey, you get a look when you say that, like.
Well, I'm
said something really, really funny to the wardens, but they're not letting you in on the joke.
Trusty's ashes. Is this the only option? Die at Grey Warden or die here?
Well, you did try and kill a whole noble family.
No, it was itching powder. I wasn't trying to kill anybody. I was just trying to make it. Look,
That's
sometimes
not what you said.
I was
before.
lying. I was lying.
Oh,
You
you
know,
should have
when you say
truthed.
something that is contrary to the truth that you know to be the real thing.
I've never heard of such an action. It is completely foreign to me, I'm afraid. Anyway, can you let us out now?
Fine,
Well, I have to go with that one.
I'll go. I'll go.
Oh, all right. Well, you're coming with us. You're conscripted, and there's no two ways about it. We're Grey Wardens. We've got the right. So make your peace with the Maker and your fate. Are we going to go? All right. Yeah, we're going to go deal with the Griffin now.
Griffin.
Wait, what? I have a griffin.
They look you up and down and they say, "No, you don't. Griffins are for wardens only, but one of them has shown up in the stables. We've got to go take care of it."
That is my griffin, and I rescued that griffin. His name is Arrow. Thank you very much.
Oh no, a griffin's getting conscripted too. If only somebody would stand up to this kind of action and let everyone go free.
Look, I'm just here for the money.
So they just sort of like ignore you until they get to the stable.
Once they're at the stable and/or at any time before, I am going to try and run away.
Okay, so
or sneak off or something.
You understand sort of the choice before you. The Grey Wardens have the right to conscript whoever they want. And you're not much of a politician, but you've grown up among them to figure out pretty well, you know, well, if I'm here, my parents can't catch me. And also they'll keep me fed and housed and reasonably warm and dry.
Okay, yeah, you know what? I guess that could work. I just won't. I'll fake drinking the thing. That's what I'll do. I'll fake drink it.
Okay, and like you do look well no, okay, so you make it to the stable where the griffin is being kept. And so you know how horses, they're like, "Oh, person that I know." And then they're like, "Oh, it's my favorite person." So your griffin, Arrow, reacts favorably to the two Grey Wardens, Leanne and Michelle. But does the like it's my favorite person to Galen. And this just confuses the fuck out of them. And they're like, "All right, explain yourself."
I told you. It's my griffin.
How'd you find it?
Well, his owner was dead, and his poor griffin was a basically arrow pincushion. Well, I fed it and I nursed it back to health, and now it's my best friend. And if you take him from me, there will be consequences.
All right, then you're coming with us too. Welcome to the Grey Wardens, I guess.
I was already told you I'd be going with because I have to keep an eye on that guy right there.
Hey, Shem,
pointing to Lander.
Run! Go, go, go!
No. Also, don't call me shrimp.
He's calling me Shem. Shemlin. That's what the elves call the humans.
Oh. Yeah, sorry. The elves sort of are. Ooh. The elves are sort of taught to not speak as much where I'm from. They just sort of are there and do things. I'm from Tevinter.
So, on that note.
Yeah, no, Laurel actually goes for Lander.
So the two Grey Wardens split you up and they say, "Oi, oi, save it for the Darkspawn." And you two are brought, or three, four, are brought some ways outside of the city, where you encounter two mages, one of whom is Tranquil, several more Grey Wardens, and a peasant. And with the whole group now collected, this is where we will draw an end to today's show.
Dun, dun,
So,
dun.
thank you all so much for playing. This was great. I can't wait to see what happens next. So with that, we conclude our tale for this evening. However, the Halloween festivities over here on the Stolen Fires channel are not at an end, because within the hour will be the debut of yet another dark fantasy game, this time Curse of Strahd, run by Chloe Serena. This will use the DM's Guild supplement She is the Ancient, which turns Count Strahd into Countess Strahd. So if you want more Dragon Age content, come by on Wednesday. Watch me finish Dragon Age Origins Awakening, and then if there's time, maybe launch a little bit of Witch Hunt. And if tabletop RPGs are more your thing, then visit us on Friday for the 5th episode of Dune Leviathan. A last episode, some of us glimpsed the golden path. Now the question is, who will choose to walk it? So, just one more quick round of goodbyes. Everyone, tell our lovely audience, thank you so much, audience. Thank you for the subscriptions. Thank you for the follows. Yeah, players, if you just want to say who you are, what you're up to, and where you can be found on the internets.
I have been Galen for you this evening. I think their pronouns will be they, them. Still feeling that one out. Might be he, they, like me. We'll see. You can find me all over the internet as Am Changeling, and on Etsy at Thornkind, and on Friday night, 11 p.m. Eastern, because my brain only knows one time.
Real time.
Otherwise, no. Anyway, as oh crap, I almost said Lysander. So
if you want to bring him back.
We'll see.
Consort Lysander.
Oh my. No, Fremen. It needs to be a Fremen for Daphne.
Okay,
These are all
husband
issues to be
Lysander.
settled on Friday.
On that note, I have been Garrick, and I am Devin. You can find me on Friday as well, where I will be playing the totally honest Norma Bene Gesserit.
Oh, hey, I guess that's me now. That was quick. I am Kay of the She and They Variety, and tonight I played Lander Havis, accidentally playing a canon character to this series despite never playing it, as one does. You can find me at Critical K with 2 Ks on the interwebs, and you can also catch me on Wednesday for another premiere on The Hype Goblin, where we will be starting our humble wood journey. I am playing a wild magic sorcerer because I have a type. His name is Rue, and he's just a good little red panda lad. So go watch for the totally not tragic issues that are certainly not going to happen to our sweet little woodland creatures.
Hello, my name is Steve. You can find me on the internet at Voodoo Arcade. Today I've been playing a tranquil unknown name. You will find it out next week, where you will see me for the next time on Wednesdays.
I have been Harlwyn. In real life, I am Brody, he, they. You can find me at the Raba1 on Twitter for as long as that place is still a tolerable ecosystem. And keep an eye out, I guess, in the near future for weird Jewish esoterica that I will bring to the masses.
Awesome. I have been your storyteller. My name is Rachel. You can find me everywhere else on the internet, also as Stolen Fires. I will be back here on Wednesday streaming Dragon Age, and then on Friday playing some Dune. But yeah, in just about an hour, we're gonna see some Curse of Strahd. So hang out and happy Halloween.